All right, good morning, Math 8, or hello, I guess. It's not morning. Today we're going to talk about angle relationships. This is the first day of this lesson, so tomorrow we'll do a little bit more of this stuff, but we'll go and get started with this stuff. Some of these we've already talked about. So vertical angles, remember, if we look at this model here, it's the angles that are across from each other, right? So angle 1 and angle 2 are vertical angles. Okay, and remember, those are going to be congruent. Okay, so you could write angle 1 is congruent to angle 2. And additionally, angle 3 and angle 4 are also congruent. Okay, because they're also vertical angles. When you see those dashes or those arcs, and they've got the same number of arcs like that, that means they're congruent. Okay, so that's why 3 and 4 both have 2. It's because they're congruent. Okay, you'll see that in lots of places. Adjacent angles we talked about as well. Remember, they share a side and a vertex. Okay, so they're going to share a side right there and a vertex right here. Angle 5 and 6 will. Now, we don't know that angle 5 and 6 are congruent, so we're not going to put any symbols there. Okay, we're not going to worry about that. The next one is complementary angles. If the sum of the measures of two angles is 90 degrees, they are complementary. Okay, so if you look at this one, angle 7 and angle 8, remember we talked about add up to 90 degrees. These are also adjacent angles, which we talked about on that worksheet that you guys had last class. But yeah, so big thing here though is that they're complementary. So we can write angle 7, whoops, that's angle 1. Angle 7 plus angle 8 equals 90 degrees. Sometimes you'll see measure of angle 7 plus measure of angle 8 equals 90 degrees as well. Okay, they mean the same thing, but yeah, just so you're used to seeing that. Last one here, supplementary angles is the same thing as complementary, but instead of 90, they're now going to add to 180. Sorry about that, guys. All right, so they're going to add up to 180 instead. So angle 9 plus angle 10, that's also a 9, plus angle 10 equals 180, or measure of angle 9 plus the measure of angle 10 equals 180. Okay, that's it for those. Okay, on the examples down here, it says example 1, John is cutting a corner off a piece of rectangular tile. Part A, classify the relationship between angle X and angle Y. Okay, so if we look at angle X and angle Y, first of all, you can see that when you put those together, they form a straight line. Okay, we talked about a straight angle is 180 degrees, and it looks like it formed a straight line. So these are going to be supplementary. Okay, and along with that, if we look at them, they do not share a vertex or a side. So that means that these are going to be non-adjacent. All right, if we look at part B, if measure of angle Y equals 135 degrees, what is the measure of angle X? All we're going to do here, guys, we know it equals, if we add them together, it's going to equal 180. So I'm going to do measure of angle Y plus measure of angle X equals 180. And then it tells us right here, angle Y is 135. So I'm just going to substitute there 135 for angle Y. So now I'm going to have 135 plus measure of angle X equals 180. And now I'm just solving like we have all year. Okay, so I'm going to subtract 135 from both sides, do the inverse operation, and I get measure of angle X equals, that should be 45 degrees. Okay, and that is it. Go ahead and do got it problems A and B. You guys can pause the video in order to do that. And we'll come back together. All right, sorry about that. I couldn't get the video to pause, but I managed it finally. You should have gotten these answers for your got it problems here. Okay. If you didn't, make sure you go back and check and see what you did wrong and fix it. Example 2, angles R and S are complementary. If the measure of angle R equals 65.3 degrees, what is the measure of angle S? Same thing. We're going to have angle R plus angle S. We know complementary means 90 degrees. Okay, and we're going to plug in what we know. So 65.3 for R plus angle S equals 90. We're going to subtract 65.3 from both sides, and you should get angle S equals 24.7 degrees. Okay, that's it for example 2. Okay, go ahead and do the got it problem right here on the back of your notes page. And go ahead and pause the video so that you can do that and then check your solutions afterwards. All right, so on this one it asks us to find the value of x. We do not need the value of the angle, but we do know that it's going to be 60 plus 3x equals 90, since those two angles are complementary. They add up to 90 degrees, and then we just solve from there. So that's just a two-step equation. Okay, probably on these the hardest part is your setup, because you guys are pretty good at solving equations. Okay, example 3, angles at A and B are supplementary. If measure of angle A equals 2x plus 30 and angle B equals 2x minus 10, what is the measure of each angle? All right, so now we're getting into a little bit more difficult stuff. We know that angle A and angle B are supplementary. That means they add up to 180. Now I need to plug in for both of them. So for angle A, we're going to have 2x plus 30. And we're going to add that to angle B, which is 2x minus 10. All right, now we have a multi-step equation. Remember, if we have variables on the same side, we're going to combine like terms. Same with our constants. So the 2x and the 2x will add up to 4x, and the 30 negative 10 will add up to 20. So now we have 4x plus 20 equals 180. Now it's just a two-step equation we can solve. So subtract 20 from both sides. 4x equals 160. Divide both sides by 4, and you're going to get x equals 40. Okay, now we are not done. I'm actually going to erase this and put it over here because I need a little bit more room. Okay, we have x equals 40, but it asks us what is the measure of each angle. So now I need to go in here. Angle A was 2x plus 30. It tells us that right here. Okay, so since angle A is 2x plus 30, if I want to find that angle measure, what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug in 40 for x, since that's what we found right here. Excuse me. So we're going to go ahead and do 2x plus 30, but instead of x, I'm going to go ahead and plug in the 40. So 2 times 40 plus 30. 2 times 40 is 80, and then 80 plus 30, angle A equals 110 degrees. All right. Now, we want to go ahead and plug in for angle B the same way. We don't want to just guess that it's going to be 70, because if it's not 70 when we plug it in, that means we did something wrong somewhere. So we're going to go ahead and check it and make sure we've done it correctly. So for angle B, we have 2x minus 10. Instead of x, again, we're going to put 40. All right, 2 times 40 is 80. 80 minus 10 is 70 for angle B. Okay, and those two angles should add up to 180. 110 plus 70 is 80, so that means we did it right. Okay, and that is it for those problems. Last one here, the got it problem. Go ahead and do that one real quick. So go ahead and pause the video so you can do that. All right, when you are finished, you should get these solutions. So make sure that's what you've got. And then that is it. So once you are finished, go ahead and move on to the next thing if you're in class, or if you've been absent, then just do what you need to do. But that's it for our notes. Thank you guys.